Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Yummy Brown of Yommycrochetlogy, and today's tutorial is another beautiful crochet snood that is inspired by Wednesday Addams series of Netflix. This one is Enid'S Sinclair's version. I use different stitches, I use different techniques, and we were going to use a different kind of yarns and a beautiful shades of pink. So if you like that style, so keep watching till the end. So if you like my content that talks about crochet and styling our crochet pieces, please smash that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. I also have a Wednesday Addams Snood version, but I used the Nevermore color, which is purple and black, but you can definitely use all black. Check in the description box below for the pattern and the tutorial. So these are the things that we will be needing for this tutorial. You can either use a chunky or bulky yarn straight away, and you need at least 4 to 5 skeins of each color since bulky yarns don't have much or longer mid-range. But what I have here is a lightweight yarns of premium acrylic. I don't want to buy more yarn, so I am going to challenge myself to use whatever I have in my stash. So far, these are the most beautiful pink that I have, and this one here is just a scrap yarn that I found at the back, and it is cotton. It's medium, but it's not as thick as a medium weight yarn, but it is cotton, and I will mix it with the acrylics. 3 shades of pink. Or you can also stick to one fiber, whether wool or acrylic or cotton. And I'm going to use a 8mm hook. You can either use 7, 6 to 8. So let's start. Since I am using a lightweight yarn, what are we going to do is we will convert the lightweight yarn into a chunky yarn or thicker yarn in order for us to achieve the look of Enid'S Snood, which is a chunky or bulky snood. So you're gonna line your yarn, whatever color you're starting, into a snake or S shape, and make sure you have 3 strands every time you're working on. Okay? Always work with 3 strands. I have my 3 strands here, and I'm gonna wrap it around my finger like the usual when I'm starting a work, and make a knot however you start a knot. Okay, again, always include the 3 strands. Okay, if you're trying to use whatever stash you have at home, and we're trying to make it into a bulky yarn, but if you're using a bulky yarn, you can skip the 3 strands. Now, if you see this yarn here, you're gonna pull this one in here in order for you to extend your 3 strands. So every time you pull this yarn in the middle of this thing here, you will have 3 strands as you work. Now that you have 3 strands, you have to make a chain of 160. Okay? If that is too long for you, you can stick to 150 to 155. Now I ran out of 3 strands here, so again, I'll grab these strands of yarn here at the back, pull it inside this part, and from there, again, I will replenish my 3 strands of yarn. Okay, always work with 3 strands of yarn if you're using a lightweight category yarn. Now continue your chain of 160 in order for us to have a foundation for the snood. Once you have your 160 foundation, I'll meet you then. For the sake of the tutorial, I will have 20 chain here just to show you guys how I did mine. And then we will slip stitch to the first chain that we made, and make sure your chain is not twisted. Once you're already slip stitched, you have formed a circle, and now our work will be in rounds. Now chain of 3, and in the next stitch you have to make 2 double crochet together. 2 double crochet is double crochet unfinished. So there's the first double crochet unfinished. And again, make a double crochet in the same stitch unfinished. Now I have 2 double crochet in my hook that is unfinished. Okay, as you can see here. So yarn over and pull it through all the way to close your unfinished double crochet. So that's how you will make a double crochet together. Now chain 1, skip 1, and into the next stitch again make 2 double crochet together. Double crochet together is double crochet and finish. Now yarn over and insert your hook again in the same stitch and make a double crochet unfinish. Now you have 2 double crochet and finish, so yarn over and finish them off or double crochet them together, then chain 1, and that's how this row will go. Okay, so double crochet together, chain 1 and skip 1 around until you reach at the very end. Okay, so you should have 160 chains to work with. So every time you run out of yarn, make sure you replenish your 3 strands by pulling this yarn inside this yarn here to make a 3 strands. Always work in 3 strands, okay? Because again, we're trying to create the project in a bulky weight yarn. So now I have here my last 2 double crochet together. I'll close it off, chain 1 and slip stitch to the top of my chain 3. Before you will close your round 2, if you change color, again make sure you have 3 strands to start with. Wrap the yarn around your finger like the normal ways that you started a project, but be mindful you have 3 strands in your hand. Pull the new color all the way to these 2 yarns in your hook, which is the previous colors, to start the next row with the second color. Okay, so every row we're changing colors. Pull this pink or the previous color to tighten your previous stitch, okay, and to welcome the new color and to begin with a new stitch. Again, chain of 3 to bring up your yarn. So I run out of yarn here again. The same way, the same process. Pull this yarn in between all the way down to create another 3 strands of yarn. Okay? So if you see this gap here right after your chain 3, you have to place 2 double crochet together. Okay, so this row 3 starts with 2 double crochet together next to the chain 3. Now chain 1. Okay, your chain 3 here is not count as a stitch. Now we will be working in every chain spaces. Okay, we will skip the double crochet together from the previous round, work your way into the chain space and make 2 double crochet together. Again, 2 double crochet together is a double crochet and finish. Yarn over and make another double crochet in the same space. So now you have 2 double crochet and finish. Yarn over and pull it through all the way to close the 2 double crochet together, chain 1 and skip the 2 double crochet from the previous round. Work your way into the next chain space and place a 2 double crochet together. Work into the chain space around until you reach at the end. Now I am here and I will end this row with a chain 1 And again, before I will finish my slip stitch, I will change color. The same way that we did in the previous row, we will start with the 3 strands of the new color. Pull the new color all the way to these 2 yarns in your hook. Start 4th row with a new color. Pull this one to tighten and start your next row with a new color and a chain 3 to bring up the yarn. Again, if you run out of yarn, make sure you always replenish your 3 strands by pulling the strands in the middle. Now, since this is a cluster here or a 2 double crochet together, we will skip that and go straight to the chain space and make 2 double crochet together. Again, 2 double crochet together is a double crochet and finish. Chain 1 and go to the next chain space and make 2 double crochet together in the same chain space. Okay, and then close it off and chain 1. So again, it's the same pattern. You are working into the chain spaces of your previous round with a new color. And also, as I've learned making this one, it is a lot easier if you're using an acrylic because it slides smoothly into your giant hook compared to the cotton. I have struggles pulling the stitches with 3 strands in the cotton yarn or fibers. So it's just a tip. Now I am here at the end of this row and I have here the chain 3. So we will place a 2 double crochet next to this chain 3 since this cluster here is skipped. So as you can see, the cluster is not sitting next to the chain 3. So this time we will end this row with a 2 double crochet together next to your chain 3 at the beginning of your row. Okay, so this is a different way of ending compared to the previous round. It also starts with a skip and then cluster straight to the chain space. Now slip stitch to the top of your chain 3. So these are the 2 rows that you will keep repeating. And again, every row change your color. Do not cut off your yarn because you will just stack them up as you go, as you add more rows. So you don't need to cut your yarn. And also always work with 3 strands if you're using a smaller sizes yarn and you're trying to make it into a chunky. Unless you're already using a chunky or a bulky yarn, then you have to skip that technique. Okay, so I have 3 colors here and I will repeat the row 3 and the row 4 until I reach my desired length, and I'll meet you once you already have all the rows needed to have a good size for a snood. So I just want to update you guys of the progress that I have. Instead of starting with the cotton like I demonstrated in the earliest part of the video, I actually end up putting my cotton or the pink, okay, in the middle of my snood. The reason is the pink or the cotton is stiff yarn, and at the same time the size of its stitches is smaller compared to these acrylics, which is the same fiber, the same brand, and the same size. If you're using the same sizes of yarns or the same brand or the same fiber of yarn, then you don't need to worry about this tip that I'm telling you right now. But if you are just like me, using whatever you have at home and trying to work it out for the pattern and trying to mix it up with another fiber, then I suggest or do not start with the cotton, because the cotton one is a little bit stiff and it kind of like shrunk the beginning of the snood. So I put them in the middle, or I put the cotton in the middle because it's stiff and it's heavier, so it gives the snood a structures in the center of the snood. Again, I will show you the pattern. I have 2 double crochet together here, so chain 1, skip that cluster and straight away work into the chain space and make 2 double crochet together always work with 3 strands if you are not using a chunky or bulky yarn. Again, chain 1, skip the cluster and work your way into the chain space between the stitches from the previous round and make a 2 double crochet together, chain 1, and again repeat the 2 double crochet into the chain space next to you. Okay, you continue that in rounds. The work is in rounds, you don't need to turn. Okay, and change color every row. So we're here at the very end of our last row for this snood. So I end up here with a chain space and I will put 2 double crochet together in this chain space. Okay, so this is how we end in this repeat row, and then slip stitch to the chain 3 at the very beginning of this row, and then do not cut off your yarn yet. Okay, so far my cotton yarn, if you're using a cotton, is in the middle and in the last row. And this snood measures 11 inches. Okay, so that's 11 inches. If you want it longer, just add more rows. Again, alternating your colors. And definitely have fun in making the rows or how you place the colors. And my snood is a total of 15 rows. And then do not cut off your yarn. We will add the last row, which is a half double crochet. So chain of 2. In every stitches you have to make a half double crochet. So again, if you run out of 3 strands, you have to pull this yarn in the middle of these 2 yarns here to make another 3 yarns to work with. That is only if you're using a lightweight and you're trying to make it into a chunky yarn. So I have here my first half double crochet. Again, half double crochet in the next stitch. And then in this stitch, which is the top of your cluster, you also have to put a half double crochet in there. So every stitches of your of this round, you have to place half double crochet around. Again, our work is in rounds. So I have my last half double crochet on top of this stitch. So close this row with a slip stitch to your chain 2 at the beginning of this row. Close it or secure your yarn, then you can wave your ends or cut it off. Okay, so that's the end of our snoods. At the moment it's very pretty. I like this version too. Chunky effect and with a beautiful stitches and a beautiful combination of shades of pink. It's just pretty. I already have here my tassels. Again, it's the same way, the way we make our tassels from the previous snood design. Okay, so I will use a cardboard that is 8 inches. Wrap your yarn around the cardboard around 80 to 100 times and then pull it out. Then you will tie the half of that yarn . Cut it off, and this time again make a little head thingy on top of your tassel, so to form a tassel. So that's how I make my tassel. So as you can see, our tassel here is quite different from the previous tassel. We don't have a strings at the top, it's just plain. What are we gonna do is we're gonna sew the top into the snoods. Okay, so get your darning needle and use the yarn or whatever leftover yarn that you have. Okay, but before that you have to trim your tassels into a uniform length. I like doing that. It's very therapeutic actually. I really do like it. It calms me. So yes, go on ahead, trim the tassel. And then how I place the tassel is only in halfway down to the back portion. Okay, I didn't put a tassel all the way in the front or more than past the half part of my snood. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place 1 in the middle and 2 in the other side, but they're not aligned to each other. One is probably here, one is in here, and the other one is a little bit down here. So do not go past beyond the midway or half of your snood, just midway down to the back. And repeat that into all the tassels that you have, however or how many tassels you have. It's really up to you. In my case, I have 3 here, but I end up removing the one in the center because it's just kind of weird poking at the top of my head. I look like a chicken. So I think I end up removing the center one and just the 2 ones in this side. So that's all. We're done with our snood. It's very pretty. I really do like this one too. It's quite heavy. It's really chunky. You can really feel the warmth. Thank you so much everybody for staying or tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned so much from this tutorial. If you are also interested of the different version of snoods, I have 2 now. You can check them in the description box below. I have a written pattern of the snoods in my Etsy. You can use the code, YouTube code, that is exclusive for you all. And also I have another tutorial coming that is also Wednesday Addams inspired lacy collar tutorial. Probably I will release it in the next few weeks, so stay tuned for that. And also don't forget to tag me of your work. You can visit me here in my social media, and thank you, and I hope to see you again sometime next week. Goodbye.
Behind downtown skyline, my headphones on, play my favorite